Welcome back, guys. Hope you have saw all my previous videos. In this video, we will be seeing about a very interesting and a very important topic called as the cardiac output. So, jumping into. So, the cardiac cycle, we will first try to define what is a cardiac cycle. The specific learning objectives for today's topic is trying to differentiate what is a systole and a diastole, what are the mechanical events that are happening, and what are the electrical events that are happening in our heart. So the cardiac cycle, it is defined as the cycle of events that happen from one heartbeat to the next heartbeat. So when, let's say, if we are starting our calculation from this atrial systole, so the cardiac cycle will be defined as the time between the first cardiac atrial systole and the second atrial systole. So the systole and diastole is differentiated as systole means a contraction of a part. Say atrial systole means the contraction of the atria, while this the atrial diastole means the relaxation of the atria. So the we see that the cardiac cycle, it is this each cycle is spontaneously generated by itself. The sinus node itself will generate each cycle, and it will transfer from SA node to AV node. It will through the AV bundle, Purkinje fibers, and all the ventricles will contract together. So the definition is defined as the cycle of events happening from one heartbeat to another. So what is the normal average heart rate for average adult? It is generally 72 beats per minute. So if the heart rate is 72 beats per minute, the duration of the cardiac cycle will be simply calculated by 1 by heart rate, 1 by 72, which is somewhat around 0.8 second. So it takes around 0.8 second for the heart to complete one cardiac cycle. So there is an important graph or an important diagram when we see about the cardiac cycle. This is called as the Weger's diagram. Weger's diagram is basically a diagram that talks about the pressure changes in atria, aorta, ventricles, and also the volume changes in the ventricles. And also we could also see the electrical activity and also the sound produced. Sound produced is generally recorded through a phonogram, and the electrical activity is generated by a electrocardiogram. So I would try to explain this as some story or something like that. We will take a heart and we will start narrating the story from the point where the blood is filled with, the atria is filled with blood. We take an heart and see from a point where from a time where the atria is completely filled with blood. This point of time is called as the relaxed ventricles as well as the atria. So what we are going to see is called as the mechanical events of the heart. So when the atria is there, the veins, the superior vena cava, inferior vena cava, the coronary sinus, all will drain the deoxygenated blood into the atrium. The atrium will get blood supply from the veins. So in this diagram, the blood from the inferior vena cava, from the superior vena cava, from the coronary sinus, all will enter the atrium. So as the blood is getting accumulated, as so much blood is getting accumulated, the pressure of this tricuspid wall increases. When we see it in the left atrium, the blood is coming from the pulmonary veins. Here also the blood level is increasing. As the blood level increases, the pressure inside also increases. This pressure will cause the opening of the tricuspid wall and the bicuspid wall. So the bicuspid wall, which was like this closed, it will dilate. So blood can flow into that. Blood will flow into from the atrium to the ventricle. The three stages of filling is that filling of ventricle happens in 3 stages. The first stage is called as the rapid filling. The rapid filling happens when the blood is stored. The stored amount of blood after it reaches some particular level, the tricuspid and the bicuspid wall will open and blood will be transferred into the ventricles. This is the rapid filling state. The second is that this diastasis. It is called as the diastasis because the blood is not stored in the atrium. Rather, it comes directly from the veins and directly into the ventricle. It is not stored there because the walls are already open. So the blood coming through the veins will directly come into the ventricle. This is the second stage. And the third stage is the atrial diastole. Atrial diastole happens when the blood in the atrium is the atrial chamber is contracted and the remaining blood is pumped into the ventricles. So the time distribution is that, so that each will have one third of that. Each will take the one third of the time. It is that the rapid filling and diastasis together will contribute to pump about 80% of the contribute to the 80% of the ventricle volume, blood volume. But atrial diastole, I'm very sorry. This is not atrial diastole. This is atrial systole, because the atria will contract. It will pump whatever blood is inside the atrium to the ventricle. So this is called atrial systole. So this will contribute only 20% of the volume, blood volume. So we will say that the atria is called as the primer pump, because the atria doesn't have a very significant role. The ventricles will even when the atria will stop functioning, the ventricles still receive 80% of the total volume it is usually receiving. So which is sufficient for sufficient to meet the normal requirement of the heart, a person body in the resting state. But this atrial systole problem will be only seen or symptomatic when during the exercise period, sternus exercise. During exercise period, the ventricles will not be, the 80% volume will not be sufficient. So the blood from the atrium is filling into the ventricles. Whatever blood was coming into the atrium is now entered into the ventricles. So as the blood is accumulating through into the ventricles, generally the AV wall, that is the tricuspid and the bicuspid wall, which was open, will now close, because as the ventricular pressure is rising. Ventricular pressure is rising because the blood is accumulated here. As the blood is accumulated here, the pressure in the ventricles will push the balls back into the atrium, that will close it. And after that, the pressure will even rise more, and this increasing pressure will open the semilunar wall. The semilunar walls that connects the ventricular chamber to aorta and the pulmonary trunk will open. But it will generally take around 0.02 to 0.03 seconds for semilunar walls to open, even after the ventricles is full. So for that 0.02 seconds and 0.03 seconds, it is said that the contraction is isovolumic. So this period is called isovolumetric contraction, because the semilunar walls are closed. So whatever the ventricles are trying to compress, there is no changes in the volume. As you can see, the volume cannot escape from the ventricular volume. The ventricle is full now. For some volume of blood to escape from the ventricles to cause any change, the semilunar walls should be open. Either AV wall should be open or the semilunar wall should be open. But at this stage, the both are closed, because of the semilunar valve is closed. There is no semilunar valve is closed. There is no change in the volume of the ventricles as they try to contract. So this is called as the isovolumetric contraction. This stage is called the isovolumetric contraction. So after the delay of 0.02 to 0.03 seconds, the semilunar walls open. After that, the semilunar walls open. After the semilunar walls, this contraction will not have any isovolumetric effect, because the blood that is pumped out by the ventricles will reach into the aorta and pulmonary trunk or the pulmonary artery. So at this stage, this is called the ejection period. Even this ejection is divided into rapid ejection and the slow ejection. The rapid ejection is that the 70% of the blood volume, 70% of the blood volume will be pumped in just 1/3 of the time. In 1/3 time, 70% volume of the blood that is inside the ventricles will be pumped out. In the slow stage, in 2/3 time, the rest 2/3 time, only 30% of the blood will be pumped out. That is why we call the first stage as the rapid ejection, the second stage as the ventricular ejection. Slow ejection. Together called as a ventricular ejection. But this ventricular ejection will pump only 60% of the blood in the ventricle. Let's say the ventricle has 120, the average is 120 ml. Only 60% of the blood volume, that is say 70 ml. Out of the 120 ml, only 70 ml pumped out, and the rest 50 ml is stored. 50 ml will stay as the residual volume. The rest 50 ml will stay as the residual volume. And after that, after the blood is pumped into the semilunar wall, through the semilunar walls into the arteries, the major arteries, the aorta and the pulmonary artery, the pressure in arteries, say aorta or pulmonary trunk, will increase, because there the blood is coming, being pumped into it very rapidly. So the pressure in those trunks will increase, but the ventricular pressure will stop falling, because the ventricle has contracted, ventricular systole has happened, so the ventricular pressure will drop. So this will cause the again closure of the semilunar walls. Semilunar walls again gets closed. The semilunar walls closure, because it is trying to the pressure difference between the pulmonary ventricular chamber and the arteries and the vein, the pressure across this semilunar wall is different, so the blood is pumped back. This blood in the aorta will push back the walls. The blood is pushing back the walls to close. So this is the reason why the closure of semilunar walls is seen. But even after that, the small volume will be back flowing of the blood in the aorta and the pulmonary trunk will cause a condition called as protodiastole. This is just a physiological condition. This happens when the blood in the aorta is pushing back the walls against ventricles. So this will cause the back flow of the blood, and the semilunar walls are pushed towards the ventricles. So means that semilunar walls, which was earlier pushed towards the aorta by the high pressure in the ventricles, now pushed towards ventricles. And after that, isovolumetric relaxation. So again, isovolumetric relaxation means that the ventricles are relaxing, but there is no changes in the volume because the semilunar walls is closed. So the ventricular chamber will be a airtight chamber. There is no passage for the blood to go out. Blood or even the air or whatever is there inside the ventricles cannot escape, because the semilunar walls are closed. This semilunar walls is responsible for both isovolumetric relaxation as well as the isovolumetric contraction. So at this point of time, the muscle fibers will not be relaxing or contracting. There will be no changes in the length of the muscle fiber, but just that they are trying to contract. So the different stages in the cardiac cycle is that first, rapid filling happens. Rapid filling of ventricles from the aorta. The second stage is the slow filling, which is called as the diastasis. The third stage is the atrial systole. Atrial systole happens when the atrial contracts and the blood from the atria is pumped towards the ventricle. After that, the both AV walls and the semilunar walls are closed, which will cause the isovolumetric contraction. The contraction is happening, but there is no change in the ventricular volume. Neither blood is pumped out. So this is called isovolumetric contraction. Then the rejection phase happens. Ejection phase also happens in two stages: rapid ejection and the slow ejection. The reason for this is the Frank-Starling's law. When there is a huge amount of blood in the heart, when the ventricles is full, the heart will try to contract with a greater amount of force. There is a greater force here. But later, when the ventricular volume, the blood in the ventricles is trying to fall, the force also is reducing. So the force is again reducing. After the slow ejection, protodiastole happens, because the blood in the aorta and the pulmonary trunk are trying to get into the ventricular chamber, but the walls are closed, so they are just trying to push the walls, but the blood doesn't enter the ventricle. It is just the black flow is present. After that, isovolumetric relaxation. These are the different stages of the cardiac cycle. I hope you could have understood. We will see each event, the pressure changes, the volume changes each separately. Before that, there is also electrical changes. We just saw the pressure changes. After that, electrical changes, electrical activity. So when the atria try to contract, this will cause the P wave in the P wave in the ECG. After that, when the ventricles are trying to contract, there will be QRS complex. Q wave, R wave and S wave both together, they will be called as the QRS complex. And after that, T wave will be seen. T wave is when this is called as the atrial time of atrial systole, when the atria contract. This is the ventricular systole, when the ventricles contract. And the last stage is called as the ventricular relaxation or the repolarization. These are the different stages of the heart. We will see what is the electrical basis in a separate video of electrocardiogram. But before that, we will enter into this pressure changes. So I have drawn this graph representing the different stages of the cardiac cycle. I have taken it from the diastole. This period is called as the diastole. This period is called as the diastole. Isovolumetric, from the isovolumetric relaxation till the end of the atrial systole, and after that systole. This is called as the diastolic period of the ventricle, and this is the systolic period of the ventricles. This is the diastolic period of the ventricle, and this is the systolic period. And this phase, the first part is called as the isovolumetric relaxation. Isovolumetric relaxation. The diastole is divided into three parts based on the division that I said here. The filling of the ventricles divided into three parts. That is the reason we have split the diastole into three parts. The first is the rapid inflow. Rapid inflow, when the blood due to gravity, the blood is directly falling from the atria through the to the ventricles as the AV valves open. And the second phase is the diastasis. This is when the blood is now without getting stored or accumulated in the atrium, they are directly falling into the ventricle. And the last stage of this systole is the atrial systole. Atrial systole is the proper systole when the atria contract and pump the remaining 20% of the blood in the atria towards the ventricle. After that is a systolic period of the ventricles, because the ventricles try to contract as there is a blood accumulated in it. The first stage is called as the isovolumetric contraction, because the AV valves are semilunar valves are closed. There will be no change in the volume of the ventricles. The last stage is called as the proper systole, the rapid ejection period. Rapid and the slow ejection period, I have considered it together. So first we will see what is happening in the atrium. Atrial pressure will be generally around the level of say 0. It will be only around the level of 0. It will not be higher because the volume of blood stored in is also very less, and also most of the time it is allowing direct blood flow. So the period, the average value will be just around 0. But after that, as the rapid inflow happens, as the blood is accumulated, the pressure will be a little above 0. It will not be 0. It will be around say some 10 or 15 millimeter mercury will be the pressure in the atria. And after that, as the blood is beginning to fall into the ventricles, the value will approach 0. For until the atrial systole is not happening, the blood pressure in the atrium will be 0 only. But once the atrial systole has happened, it will rise a small amount of value, because at this point of time the atria is contracting. Atria contraction is giving this small pressure in the atrium. After that, the pressure again increases, because in the isovolumetric contraction period, the ventricles are contracting. That will push even the atrium, that will cause the atrium the pressure inside the atrium to increase. And also the black flow of the blood from into the atria, as the ventricles are getting filled up, the walls are closed, but the contraction will the blood will try to enter into the atria through the AV valves, but the backflow is prevented due to the walls. So at this point of time, both two events happen. The backflow of the blood will cause a slight increase in pressure. Also, the AV valves are bulged into it. So this will cause again a small increase in the pressure. And this will be around say some again a 10 or 15. And again it will drop. During the systolic period, as soon as the semilunar valves open, the blood will mainly focus of getting into the aorta. Now the valves are again free. So it will be slightly around 0. and after that again isovolumetric relaxation. This relaxation period also, end of the isoventricular contraction, as the systole comes to an end, there will be again increase in pressure. This is because the ventricular AV walls open. The AV walls, as soon as the AV walls open, it is getting ready for the blood to accumulate. As ventricles are getting filled up, as the ventricles are emptying the blood, ventricles pushing the blood, atria will accumulate blood. I hope you could understand. At the nearing the end of the ventricular systole, as the ventricles come towards the end of their systolic period, the blood is getting filled up into the atrium, and that will cause the increase in pressure. The pressure I said here, this is again the pressure I will say here. Both of these are isovolumetric relaxation. Only for sake of getting a continuity, I am repeating it. So during the period of isovolumetric relaxation, the blood is accumulating so there is a pressure, and after that as the blood is entering into the ventricles, there will be no pressure change. It will be around 0, and after that, as the atria contracts, there will be a slight increase in pressure, and after that, even after the AV walls are closed, the black flow and the bulging of the AV walls will cause the second pressure, and after that again it will be 0. We will name this as A, C and V. This is also called as V. The A is caused because of the atrial contraction. This is A is caused by the atrial contraction. The C is caused by the backflow of the blood, and the V is caused when the atria is filling up. Atria is again filling up. So these are the 3 pressure curves that we'll see in the atrial pressure curve. And the second stage, we will see about what is happening in the ventricles. The ventricles also during the initial stages, there will be 0 pressure. As long as the blood is directly falling into the ventricles, there will be no pressure in the ventricles. This is the period of rapid filling and diastasis. At this time, the pressure in the ventricles is also 0, just like the atrial pressure. And after that, as atria is contracting, the blood is pushed with a greater force into the ventricle. At this time, the ventricular pressure again rises. The ventricular pressure rises, and after that, at this point of the time, the AV walls are closed and the semilunar walls open. At this point of time, the blood from the atria stops coming, and the blood in the ventricle is pushed towards the aorta and the pulmonary trunk. At this point of time, the force will be so high that it will try to open the semilunar walls. It will rise to a pressure as high as 120 millimeter per millimeter mercury, and after that it will again try to fall, because I said only in the rapid filling phase the pressure will be so high, and after that, as great amount of blood is pumped out, the pressure begins to fall. So this is again the pressure curve in the ventricular pressure. As long as the blood is directly falling into the ventricle, there is no change. When the blood is pushed into the ventricles, there is a small elevation, and after that the pressure will grow so high when the contraction happens. The ventricular muscle contracts and the pressure will grow towards 120 millimeters. 120 millimeters mercury. Here it will be 0. Here let's say 80. And now thirdly, we will see what is happening in the aorta. Aortic pressure will be generally between say 80 millimeters to 120 millimeters, because 80 is the diastolic volume, diastolic pressure, and the systolic pressure is 120 millimeters. So when the rapid inflow is happening, the pressure in the aorta will be little around 120, because not 120 but little around 120, because the blood was just before this, the ventricles tried to push blood into it, so the pressure will be not 120, a little below it. So it will be like this, and after that the aortic pressure will again fall, because the blood has already gone out of the aorta into the systemic circulation. So through this period of time, the ventricle pressure in the aorta will come towards 80. The pressure will come towards 80. Whatever is happening in the ventricles and atrium will not affect it. So the pressure will continuously fall from around some say 100 from 100 it will directly come towards 80, and after the 80 is reached, the ventricular contraction is happening. At this point of time, the ventricles are contracting, but you can see that the pressure is not changing here because the contraction phase is isovolumetric. So during the period of isovolumetric contraction, there will be no blood entering into the aorta, so the pressure also will be remaining constant. But after that, the systole is happening, the blood is entering the aorta. At this point of time, from 80 the pressure will rise towards 120. So the pressure would rise towards 120, and after that it will begin to drop. After that, as soon as it's beginning to drop, isovolumetric relaxation happens. So the pressure again begins to rise because the blood from the aorta is pushing the walls backwards. So this backflow will increase a very small change, not even 5 or 10. That much difference is again caused, and after this again it will fall. So these are the different changes, and finally we can also see the pressure changes in the the ventricles. The pressure initially will be so before the diastole it will be around 50. 50 will be the say, let's say this is the 50 value, this is the 120 ml. This is the volume measured in a milliliter, volume of blood in ventricles. Ventricular volume we are again measuring. At this point of time, the volume at this beginning of the diastole will be 50, because this is the residual volume, the bare minimum that will be always present in the ventricles for meeting the situations of emergency. But after this, as the blood is coming from the atrium to the ventricles, it will slowly rise. But only till rapid inflow and diastasis there is a slow rise. But after that, there is a slight faster filling, because the atria is contracting, the blood is pushed forward. These are passive stages. Both of these are passive stages. Here gravity is helping. Again here gravity is helping. But here atria is contracting. So here there is a little steep increase. It is going towards 120. And after that systole is happening. You could see that I haven't changed or decreased the volume during the isovolumetric contraction period, because there is no change in the volume. And after that there will be a sudden fall in ventricular volume back to 50, because in this short span of time all the blood from the ventricle is pumped back into the aorta. So again the pressure volume will, here it was 50, here it grew towards 120. Again due to the contraction, ventricular contraction, the blood entered aorta. Since we are seeing the left ventricle in this example, we are just considering the right atrium and the left ventricles for this example. So again as the blood enters the aorta, suddenly it will fall towards 50 ml, back to 50 ml. Again it will rise, there will be a fall. So these are the different changes in the ventricles. If we want to see the the electrical changes during the initial period of time, let's say this is the ECG graph I am drawing. As long as the atria is open, the atrial wall is open, there will be no electrical activity. But just before atrial systole happens, there will be a P wave. The P wave will, if we say that the third column, this column is the time of atrial systole. Before the atrial systole, the P wave has to start. So it will be like this. Just before that, P wave will be seen. And after that, atrial systole happens. And before isovolumetric contraction, QRS complex should happen, because QRS complex, this is the P wave, here QRS complex should come, because the QRS complex will cause the ventricular contraction. Now it will again, QRS complex is seen. So after that, it is again constant. And towards the end of the ventricular relaxation, T wave should be seen, because T wave is responsible for ventricular relaxation. So in this video we have seen about the different changes, mechanical events and the electrical events that are happening, and also the different stages, how much volume is involved, what are the the Wiggers diagram, what are the changes in the atrial pressure, ventricular volume, and all that we have seen. So in the next video we will try to see about the electrocardiogram and all the rest topics. Thank you. Bye.